A question as old as time. Is Nintendo just for kids? Well, PlayStation seems to think so, and they actually think that not only is Nintendo not competition for PlayStation, but that Nintendo gamers are immature and will eventually graduate up to PlayStation consoles. Recently, in an interview, Shuhei Yoshida, which is an ex-Sony executive, he left earlier this year, he actually gave a little bit of insight into how PlayStation views Nintendo internally. So actually, when PlayStation does a market analysis, Nintendo doesn't even show up. Other competitors show up, and Nintendo is not even on the docket. He did mention that in Japan specifically, they view Nintendo as competition in a general sense, and that's interesting that a big player like PlayStation actually doesn't even view Nintendo as competition. They're not even on the radar. And I think that is a big oversight on PlayStation's part. So just to talk about that for a second, with the Switch 2 particularly, I think a lot of third parties are about to hit the Switch 2 in a really big way. With DLSS and the power of the Switch 2, I think a lot of the games we're seeing run on PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X, along with the fact that handhelds and portable computers are really just gaining more ground, I think we're going to see a lot of third parties really hit the Switch 2 in a big way. And I know me personally, I have a PS5, I have a Switch 2. Unless a game is just completely unoptimized for Switch 2, I'm always going to pick that version over the PS5 version because having it on the go as well as on the couch beats just having it on the couch. Sure, maybe it's going to run better on PlayStation or look a little better, but again, if it's within the ballpark, I'm taking that on Switch 2. So it's really interesting to see Sony not view them as competition. Now, I know in the past with Switch 1, there was such a huge gap in third-party games that there really wasn't a reason for them to view them as competition. And traditionally, the people that buy Nintendo consoles are going to buy Nintendo consoles. They really do have their market segment honed in on and have a firm grasp around it. It's okay for them to feel like, hey, Nintendo guys are Nintendo guys, and they're going to buy that console. We're trying to do our own thing with more cinematic, involved storytelling. But this kind of does lead into a wider question of, is Nintendo just for kids? And no, of course it's not. That's just silly. Nintendo is a place where they view fun as paramount. That's the first tenet in Nintendo when they're looking at a game. Is it fun? Is this gameplay engaging, creative, and fun? Can anybody pick it up? Nintendo's whole thing is low barrier of entry and high skill ceiling. If you don't think Nintendo games can be tough and challenging for mature and experienced players, just give any mature, experienced gamer the controller and sit him down with a crazy Mario Maker level. I guarantee you he will pull his hair out faster than he would doing any Elden Ring run with his toes or a guitar controller or whatever you want to do. My money is on Mario Maker being the more difficult of the two. That's just me, but point being, Nintendo is really good, almost too good maybe, at making these games that appeal to everybody. They really do operate on this spectrum where anybody can hop in, but anybody can also dig in and find a lot of skill and strategy and depth there. The new Mario Kart World. Anybody can hop in and race and have fun, but if you really dig in, that game has some crazy mechanics and you can just get better and better and better at learning these lines and shortcuts. The same with something like Smash Bros. It's cutesy, it's fun, you can hop in and beat up your friends and family. You can jump in and button mash and learn a couple basic moves or have equalizers like items. But there's also a lot of depth that you can learn and devote your time to and really sink your teeth into. And Nintendo does that super well. It's almost uncanny their ability to make games that are super easy to get into and have enough depth to keep mature and, kind of core gamers engaged for a long period of time. And that's not to say that Nintendo doesn't have mature games either. We're getting the new Final Fantasy VII, remake trilogy on Switch. We've already got the Doom games on Switch. We're getting games like Cyberpunk 2077 and a new FromSoft game on Switch. There are plenty of mature games on Nintendo platforms, and there always has been. Resident Evil 4 was first on the GameCube. Is that not mature? I mean, yeah, they've kind of had their ups and downs with making the Wii super family friendly, and then way down with the Wii U. We're not going to talk about that. And then the Switch kind of being this middle ground, and they have Pokemon and Mario and all these kid-friendly games. But again, just because that's their tentpole franchises doesn't mean they don't have stuff that appeals to mature gamers too. So no, Nintendo isn't just for kids. And in a broader sense, even Mario and Pokemon and Smash Bros. And all this and Zelda, that's not just for kids either. That's for people who just like to have fun. And that's what gaming's all about. Yeah, I like good immersive stories, and I love good graphics, and I'll have fun with games like The Last of Us and God of War. But if you just sat me down and said, hey, what's one thing you want out of a video game? I'm gonna say fun. Is it fun? Am I gonna have fun playing this game? And I think most people are gonna agree with that. And Nintendo excels at fun. So once again, no, Nintendo is not just for kids, and I think PlayStation is in for a pretty rude awakening if they think that this generation is not gonna have Nintendo posing a fair amount of pressure on PlayStation for players to say, hey, yeah, I could play the games on the PS5 and it'd be maybe a little bit higher frames or better resolution, or I can pop it in my Switch 2 and play it on the bus, the train, at the park, on a long car ride, on a plane ride. Or I can plop it in my dock and play it in the living room. I can sit down with the Pro Controller and have 70 to 80% the same experience as the PS5 and then take it with me. I think that's going to be a huge thorn in PlayStation's side moving forward, and they probably should start taking notice. Anyway, if you like this video, like and subscribe, stay tuned for future content, and let me know what you think. Do you think Nintendo's just for kids? Do you think that PlayStation is right for overlooking them? Or do you think they should probably start paying closer attention to our little red-capped menace? Anyway, thanks for watching, and take it easy.